Psychic Bob. It is so awesome to be back with you. Well, welcome to Friday. Happy Friday. Well, as I promised you guys, today we're going to talk about solar and lunar deities. That's right. So hang with us. But before we get into all of that, I want to say, first of all, thank you. Thank you to all of you who came out to yesterday's video. We had such a great vlog Thursday. Went out to Faux Wee. If you missed it, you got to check it out. It's in the queue right before this one. So check it out. Also, just a quick reminder, today is the last day you can register for the Psychic Development class. So if you want to get on my class schedule, you need to go to my website, PsychicBob.com, scroll down through. You'll see a header. It says Psychic Development, and under that will be a PayPal button. Click on that, enter your information, and you're registered for the class. The class will be tomorrow, Saturday at 12 noon Eastern U.S. time. It'll be from 12 to 1:30. The class is only $30. So make sure you're there. Join our class. Let's have fun. We're going to talk about clairsentience tomorrow. I'm teaching on how to open your own gifts of clairsentience and how to open infused knowledge. So you don't want to miss it. Be there. Hail to the Sun Lord. Hail. The eyes of the Sun Lord are upon us all. Hail. Hey, Tubies. Well, here I am in my shrine room. I have an altar set up here to the Sun God. Many of you know I always worship the Sun Lord when we go out on our vlogs, and I call him Surya. And I say, Hail to the Sun Lord. Now, in the Western occult tradition, the sun is believed to be the God aspect of deity. And so we have gods like in India, Surya. In fact, this tapestry is from India, and it is the sun god of India, Lord Surya. And in India today, the god is worshipped in the form of the sun. Now, there are ancient cultures. In ancient Greece and Rome, there was Apollo, who was considered a sun god. There was Sol, who was a Roman sun god. And then, of course, you have Surya, who's ancient, but also exists in modern-day India, still worshipped. So, as I said, in the tradition of the West, and particularly in the Wiccan tradition that I follow, we honor the god as the sun, or the sun is an aspect of male deity. Hail to the moon goddess. Hail to thee, Isis, mother of the moon and the Wiccan mysteries. Hail. Hail. And as we said that the sun god is considered masculine and is an aspect of male divinity, likewise in the Western world, the goddess is associated with the moon. So here is my statue of the goddess Isis. Isn't she lovely? And I hail her as the moon goddess. Now, in the Western world, there are a lot of ancient moon goddesses. There's Artemis, there's Diana, there's Luna, there's Isis. And so, traditionally, again, in the West, the moon is associated with the female energy of deity known as the goddess. Namo Quan Chi Yin Pusa, Namo Quan Chi Yin Pusa, Namo Quan Chi Yin Pusa. Now, Tubies, when we go to the eastern part of the world, the goddess's energy shifts a little bit. Here is the goddess Kuan Yin from China. Now, in China, the goddess Kuan Yin is associated also with the moon. And you'll notice behind her here, what appears to be a halo, I think is also the moon, because there's the night sky and the clouds and the moon. And it's traditionally believed that goddess Kuan Yin is associated with the moon and the element of water. So, the concept of the moon goddess exists even in the Eastern worlds. And so it seems that we have our theology secure. The goddess is the moon, the sun is the god, and all is well. Well, don't get too comfortable with those assumptions, because once we go to Japan, everything changes. And behold, here we are at the Shinto shrine of the moon god. His name is Tsukuyomi. Tsukuyomi is believed to be the god of the moon, and he is the husband of the sun goddess Amaterasu. So in Japan, for thousands of years, people have been praying to the god of the moon and the goddess of the sun. Pretty fascinating, isn't it? So some of you are going to say, well, Psychic Bob, how can that be? How can there be a moon god if I've been praying to a moon goddess all my life? Well, let me explain it to you this way. We know that by modern day science, that the moon really is not a person or a goddess, that the moon really is a planet, a small planet made of silvery dust and rock. Does that mean that it's no longer valuable or that goddess is not associated? Absolutely not. Because what we have to remember when we look at the natural world is that it is the spirit of deity that is infused in these places and objects. So the moon is still the abode of the goddess. We know by modern science that it is just a giant silvery rock. But we also know, at least through our Wiccan teachings, and Shinto, might I add, that it is the spirit of the being that works through physical reality. So, the truth is that the moon could be governed by multiple deities who want to claim it. And in the spirit world, nobody fights over territory. There's no jealousy there. And so, the goddess Isis, who I worship, is the goddess of the moon. And that symbol of the moon she works through to communicate with me. For the people in Japan who look at the moon, the goddess Tsukuyomi talks to them through the moon. So the moon itself, in a sense, is neutral, but it's the beings that you commune with that use it as their symbols. Do you get what I'm saying? And so I invite you to consider that if you've ever wondered if you could pray to a moon god instead of a moon goddess, the answer is yes. And it is all very valid and very real. In the ancient world, there was, in Babylon, I think it was the god Sin was the god of the moon. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think his name was Sin, S-I-N, was the god of the moon. And in, I believe it's ancient Celtic culture, there's a moon god whose name escapes me. So throughout the time in history, the moon has been seen as a god aspect or a goddess aspect by various cultures. Now, today we're going to look at the Shinto tradition of the moon god. And so I thought what I would do for you is show you how one sets up a Shinto altar if you wanted to work with Shinto deities. Shinto is a religion that's actually very liberal. You don't actually ever convert to Shinto. Shinto is just something that you do. And so anybody who wants to practice Shinto can. Of course, it would do you well to respect the culture and learn the traditions. But to become a Shinto practitioner, all that's required is that you set up a Shinto shrine in your home. So I'm going to give you a tour today of this Shinto shrine and teach you more about the moon god Tsukuyomi. And we'll talk about his wife Amaterasu, the goddess, as well. So traditionally in Shinto, you have what's called a kamidan. Kamidan means a god shelf. And it's basically a miniature house, or you could think of it as a spirit house. And I don't have the full setup here. I'm still buying some things for this because I really like Shinto, and I think I'm going to incorporate it into my regular practice now. But basically you have the Shinto, the spirit house, which we're going to have a tour of in a little while. And you traditionally have light offerings, and then like a bowl or an offering to make offerings of money. You might have a bell on your altar. And then the traditional daily offerings are water, rice, and salt. I have containers that I'm ordering for those that will set in front of the kamidan. So today is just an initial beginning. So this does not represent the full scope of Shinto. But today we're just focusing on the moon god and the sun goddess. But I thought I should show you how you go about kind of beginning the reverence of the kami. So we're going to open the Kamidan, but before we do that, we need to show some reverence. So generally you offer a coin. In Japan, they offer 5 yen coins because 5 yen translates to like good luck. So I have a nickel here. That's as close as I can get. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be a lot of money, but it's the idea that you want to give out of reverence and joy. So traditionally you approach your Shinto shrine and you throw a coin in the offering. So here we go. And then there'll be a bell, usually at the Shinto place. Now I have a kind of a gong bell or a singing bowl, but you ring this to let the god know that you're arrived. Then the tradition is that you bow twice. After bowing twice, then you clap your hands twice. And then you put your hands together like in a prayer gesture, which I can't do because I'm holding the camera. You bow your head and you offer prayers to the deities at that shrine. Now, at many Shinto shrines, you never actually see the deity form. Shinto is interesting. It's a little like Judaism in that the divine is never seen. And they rarely have forms or statues in Shinto for the gods. There are some gods that do have statues in some shrines, but generally what you'll see at a Shinto shrine is simply this sort of structure, like a wooden house with doors on it. Now, what is inside of that at the temple is considered the most sacred part of the shrine. And so today I'm going to let you into the shrine. In some Shinto shrines, they actually do open the doors on occasion. I'm moving these candles so I don't burn myself. So that you can see the Shintai within. The Shintai is an object of reverence that is used to house the energy of deity. You might, for those of you who are Catholic, you may understand this. For example, in the Catholic Church, they have a tabernacle, which is kind of like a case that holds consecrated bread. And that bread that is consecrated is believed to hold the presence of the Christ. So the communion wafers are the body of Christ. The same principle applies in Shinto. But instead of bread, they usually have one of 3 objects. Either they'll have a sword enshrined, which will be considered the god's body, the physical form, the god will imbue the sword. Or it might be a jewel, such as a piece of jade. Or, in many cases, it is a mirror. And let us look within, and I'll explain this further. So as we open the shrine, everybody be very reverent. Within my Kamidana, I have a sacred mirror. This is because I just love this symbol. And let me bring this mirror out. This mirror in Shinto is considered the most sacred of items. This is in a sense, equal to the Catholic consecrated host. It is believed that the divinity that you invoke, whether the moon god or the sun goddess, are dwelling in the mirror. So the mirror is a perfect symbol because it's silver like the moon, and therefore it can represent the presence of the moon god. And so in Shinto rituals, they invoke the divine energy into the actual object. So this mirror, I actually consecrated this to Tsukuyomi, and so this mirror is the actual presence of the god and is a very reverential, and that is kept within the Kamidana, or in some cases it's brought out in front of the Kamidana. Now, for those who worship the sun goddess, most of the temples of the sun goddess also have a mirror because it's believed that the mirror reflects light. It is like the light of the world shining out. And so the mirror in Shinto can be either a god symbol or a goddess symbol. So this is what is kept. Inside most kamidanas or Shinto shrines, there is one sacred object, be it a jewel, a sword, or a mirror. And this is, again, the most holy of holies. Now, many Shinto people will open their kamidana and pray before the holy object, in this case, the mirror. And some people will never open. They keep it permanently closed out of the belief that you cannot gaze directly upon divine forms. So either way, whether you open the kamidana or close it, neither way is right or wrong. It's what you prefer to do. So I wanted to bring this to you today to show you that the god and the goddess can exist in different places, times, forms, and they're not limited. So if you've ever wondered if you could pray to the moon god instead of a moon goddess, the answer is absolutely yes. And this is done in many ancient cultures, and in today, in modern day Japan, is the norm. So if you have trouble considering that the sun is God and you don't relate to the God aspect, then why don't you ask for the sun goddess to come to you? Now, I'm not very versed on sun goddesses. Japan's the only one I can think of that actually has a sun goddess in the Shinto faith. I think in most of the Western world, the god has been the sun. But let me retract that, because I've heard some Wiccan scholars say that the goddess Brigid of Ireland was considered a solar deity, a sun goddess. And so some of the ancient people who worship Brigid considered her the sun goddess. So I suppose it does exist in the Western world as well. So what I'm trying to say is, don't get hung up on, what somebody says. If you say, Bob, I really feel the moon, I relate to the god in the moon in a lunar aspect rather than a solar, you can do that. Because remember, as I said, the actual physical presence of the sun and the moon are neutral. And it is the spirit that you invoke that works through the symbol. So you can pray to a moon god or a moon goddess, as well as pray to a sun god or a sun goddess. So Shinto, I think, is really great because it reminds us that we can shake it up and it's still good and valid. Hail, Tsukuyomi, hail. Well, guys, I have had such a great time today being here with you and sharing these ideas about solar deities and lunar deities. Tell me in the box below, have you ever heard of the Shinto gods, of the moon god or the sun goddess? I want to hear your experiences. And tell me, do you worship the sun lord or the sun lady? Do you worship the moon god or the moon goddess, for those of you who are Wiccan? Or are you just now discovering all of this and saying, wow, this is a new way to look at life? Tell me your thoughts about any of this below. I'd love to hear from you. So put your comments below. Well, guys, thanks for being here. I've so enjoyed it. Listen, if you want to join my psychic development class, make sure to register today. I'm keeping registration open until 9 p.m. tonight. I said it was going to be 6, but I'm giving it a little longer because some people have written and said they're not going to be home. So it's open till 9 p.m. Eastern time to register for the psychic development class. Just go to my website, link will be below, PsychicBob.com, and join our scene. Guys, thanks for being here. I hope you've enjoyed this. Give me thumbs up, like this, favorite it, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe. We'll be back here tomorrow for Saturday night video. We're going to have something mystical. It'll probably be at nighttime, so be back here. We may go out for another walk or a scrying session. We'll find something fascinating. Make sure to be here. Love you guys. Thanks for being here. See you then. Blessed be.